Hello and welcome. This is Natalie Chmiko, Vice President of Pure Michigan Business Connect and International Trade at MEDC. Today we are back talking about Industry 4.0 and how Michigan has an opportunity and the resources to turn automation and manufacturing into a strength for our economy and our workforce. If you are joining us today for the first time, I would encourage you to also listen to our conversation with Tom Kelly from Automation Alley, which you can find at michiganbusiness.org/industry4-0. Just a reminder for our audience, if you have any questions throughout the conversation, please feel free to drop it in the comment section and we will try and address those during the live stream today. So today we are joined by another key partner in our Industry 4.0 efforts, Chuck Werner, the Manager of Operational Excellence and Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt at the Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center. Welcome, Chuck. Can you tell us a bit about the work of the center and the role you are playing in Industry 4.0 readiness?
Oh, okay. Well, I'll start with the center. The center is an MEP, or Manufacturing Extension Partnership. We're a nonprofit. We work with small and medium enterprises or businesses throughout the state of Michigan. There's a national network, but we're Team Michigan here. So that's really for small and medium. That's anybody that's got 500 or less employees at their area. We work in training, mentoring. With regards to Industry 4.0, our approach, we've been doing this for about 3 years, and our approach is to try to match Michigan businesses and small businesses up with what technologies will actually help them and best meet their business needs. We talk all the time, not everybody has bags of money laying around that we can just hand out. So if I'm going to invest in a technology, that technology has to have a return on investment and it has to drive my bottom line. And that's where we kind of key in on. We can help with assessment. We can help with identification of the business needs. We can help with the identification of a sub-supplier or somebody to help to implement or integrate. And we can help with change management. How to train, how to utilize the technology, and how to make sure that we're actually getting bang for the buck.
Yeah, speaking of, change management, I know, there's no doubt that culture plays an important role in this Industry 4.0 readiness. So what do you think is the most critical when a company is looking at culture and when it comes to the adoption and implementation of these kind of Industry 4.0 technologies?
I'll tell you what we're finding. I've done about 50 assessments so far around the state of Michigan with various businesses, and I've seen in all of them the thing that we have to remember. You talk about culture, but change management. Anything that we invest in, anything that we adopt, and it goes back to things we've been doing for a long time: Lean Six Sigma, continuous improvement, quality management systems. But even more so with technology, what we're doing is we're changing, and we have to make sure that we're a learning organization, and we have to make sure that we're prepared as leadership and as business leaders, owners, managers, that we're ready to lead that change. And that starts with us actually being able to communicate the benefit of the change, which means we have to understand it as well. If we don't understand and accept the change, neither will our people. And then we need to have the skill sets. The ability to lead projects, the ability to implement, and or having somebody in the mix of the adoption that knows how to lead a project, that knows how to manage the change, that knows how to make it as comfortable as possible. And then the one I always remind people is plan, do, check, act. We call it the Deming cycle. We need to make sure that we're communicating with our folks, our teams, two-way communication as we're implementing the change, as we're implementing the technology. We're putting something out there and we're seeing how it's working, and we're adapting to what we're seeing in the feedback of our teams to make sure that we're actually, and if everybody doesn't see the benefit, we're going to put a lot of things out there that aren't going to be accepted.
Right. That's so important to get, both the employees, the management, all across the board, getting them on board with these changes and having that adoption of, these changes are part of our culture. I think, when people think about Industry 4.0, I think a lot of people think about the large companies that are making, huge investments. So let's talk about the small or mid-sized businesses for a moment. What advantages can these technologies bring to their manufacturing processes?
Yeah, honestly, the benefit to the small to medium enterprise is in a lot of ways identical to the larger businesses. We can lean out our processes. We can eliminate waste. We can get rid of repetitive motion, so the benefits in a lot of ways are exactly the same. But when you're a smaller or a medium-sized business, I use the phrase a lot when I'm teaching called a people closet. One of the things that we don't have when we're a small and medium enterprise is we don't have people to throw at the problems. We don't have resources necessarily to throw at the problems. I'll use an example. So let's say that we want to start watching what's going on in our process, and we want to reduce our defects or the parts that we throw away. In order to do that, we have to start taking a lot of data, and we want to record things. Well, old school, how have we always done that? We handed everybody a check sheet and we said, okay, fill everything out. And then we go to our supervisor who's already overloaded and busy. And we say, okay, here's what I want you to do. Make sure they're filling them out, and then make sure they all get collected, and then hand them to another person who's going to put them in to a computer program so that we can look at it, so we can do analysis. And that was kind of the old school way of doing things. We may not have the resources to be able to do those things, right? So that's one. Technology can help us with data. Technology can also let that data be real time so that the people who need to make decisions can have the information in front of them real time. And another one is, let's face it, if you look around Michigan, if you look around just about any state, we can't find enough employees. Right now, we can't find enough people to fill jobs. So what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to make the most of the good employees that we currently have. And technology offers a wealth of opportunities there to take, the jobs that maybe people don't like to do or people don't want to do, and be able to use some automation and allow our people to enjoy their jobs or enjoy manufacturing a little bit more.
It's such a good point, because I think, when people think about Industry 4.0 and they think about automation, I think a lot of times they're thinking that it could be a threat to our workforce and our jobs. But your point about them working together and utilizing the talent that we have for things, that require that kind of human touch is so important. So can you talk a little bit more about, the relationship between, these technologies and the workforce, and, is this something that, both the employee and the management can champion in their day-to-day operations?
I think probably the first thing that we want to make sure that we're doing is working with the folks to identify. One of the things that we don't talk about a lot in businesses is succession planning, development, cross-training, having a good understanding of what kind of operational skills we need. A lot of times I'll walk into a machining center as an example, and I'll see a CNC operator who's capable of doing programming and capable of doing a lot of things. And what is he doing? He's taking this piece out of a machine and he's putting another piece in the machine, right? So this is what we have this individual doing. And that starts to delve into what we call the 4Ds of automation or robotics, right? We've got jobs out there that are dull, dirty, dangerous. Some that are just demanding, and demanding can be in a couple of different ways. Demanding can be physical, where we're just picking something up and moving or twisting on a nonstop basis, or demanding that it needs to be done in a certain way all the time, so that we're constantly having to check and recheck what we're doing. And these are the kind of jobs that it's really hard for people to enjoy doing, right? These are the ones where we kind of go into work and we check out, and we should be identifying those sorts of functions or those sorts of areas as areas where maybe we can use the automation, but we do it hand in hand with people, because typically we're not going to replace people in most businesses with automation. Okay, I may move this individual, but if I can't find enough people, I need to utilize my brains, right? I can do something with hands, something that doesn't involve brains and applications, but I want to move that individual or train that individual to do something that only a human can do, and that's touch and discrimination, and allow them to grow.
Absolutely. I like that. The 4Ds. I'll have to remember that. I know, when talking to small businesses, I know there's also a lot of hesitation for manufacturers when it comes to cost. So, does Industry 4.0 adoption require, a significant investment at the onset? And, how do these smaller manufacturers determine where to invest first and how they can measure success?
Well, that's a great question. And you need to have that. I worked for some fairly big companies, but I never ever got to work for one that was so big that somebody said, yeah, just go spend money on that. They always wanted to know, what am I getting back, right? And it's the only way that we'll approach it. I'm not going to say that there's no investment. Things have come down from a price perspective. I can remember back in the day, sensors that would cost several $100s are now in the $20 and $30 range. So the costs have come down dramatically over the years. Competition, various, more people that are supplying these. And then a lot of businesses are realizing that, what, I can't just cater to the OEMs. 95+% of the businesses and the hiring out there is being done by small to medium enterprises. And that's a lot of workforce. That's a lot of opportunity. So if I'm a supplier of a technology and I'm not engaging the small to medium enterprises, I'm going to miss out. So everybody's kind of looking that way and moving in that general direction. Now, from a business perspective, what we have to do is, I have a coworker that always says, the lack of technology is not your pain. So that's where we start. What is your pain? What is your problem? What is driving your bottom line? What are the issues? And the issues are the same issues that we face every day. The issues are we throw away too many parts, or the equipment isn't running, or maybe my scheduling isn't matching. I don't have a visibility or a clarity of what's going on in my business. So I'm running into bottlenecks, or I'm running into delays that are costing me in on-time delivery. So our bottom line performance metrics are our problems. And that's where we really have to start. We have to start by understanding what metrics are hurting our business. We have to drive to a dollar value. And then from there, we start to be able to talk ROI, right? Then what are the opportunities? What are the possibilities? And we can scale the solution to the size of the problem or the bottom line impact it's having to the business, to make sure that we have an acceptable ROI.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because we're not just implementing these technologies just for the heck of it. There really is an impact to the bottom line, and looking at it strategically of which things are going to make my company more efficient, more profitable, are all reasons why these technologies should be implemented. So I appreciate that. Switching gears a little bit. So, I know I've mentioned a little bit at the beginning, we have a lot of resources available to support Michigan companies with navigating Industry 4.0. How is the center working with us, to help businesses prepare for Industry 4.0? And can you tell us a little bit about the technology opportunity assessments and some of the other resources that you offer?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. This is an extremely exciting time, really, here at the center. We, as I said, we kind of started our journey with Industry 4.0 about 3 years ago. And one of the first things that we were tasked with doing was coming up with what is now the opportunity assessment, the technology opportunity assessment that we perform. And when we came across it, it's 40 questions. We come to your facility. We visit for 2 hours. That includes a plant walkthrough of kind of the value stream. And as we were putting this out, trying to get out to all of the manufacturers, and obviously the more people we can interact with, and that's really where the partnership with the MEDC comes in. Throughout the partnership, we're targeting 300 Michigan businesses over the course of this year and over the years coming up, to be able to get face-to-face with the small to medium enterprises and perform the opportunity assessment. Keeping in mind that the opportunity assessment is solely conducted for your business and what an individual operation really needs. So in the assessment, we look at 3 things. We look at your need. And the need is driven from the voice of business, voice of customer, which is to go in and say, is there a glaring need? As an example, if I'm a DoD supplier in the state of Michigan, at some point, cybersecurity is going to become very, very important to me because that's what my customer wants. But then we'll also help you identify from a business perspective what's driving your costs and what's really helping or hurting your business. And then we take a look at systems and existing technology to kind of see where you are developmentally. And from the system side, piling technology on top of poor systems, right? If I don't have a good operational system in my business, I can give you technology, but we're not going to adapt it. We're not going to use it, right? So we'll look at what kind of systems you currently have. We can certainly assist with the development of them. And then we'll look at what technologies are currently available and whether or not we're actually using them. And we can then identify, a lot of times, let's say that we don't have a good manufacturing operations system and we want to implement one hand in hand, we can find a technology that will help you do that without trying to overtask people that are already busy in their jobs. So then the output is for us to come back and really say, okay, we've performed the assessment. Here's what we're seeing. Here's where the opportunities are. And I got to be really honest. It's very rarely a surprise. I think most businesses are pretty in touch with what's going on and their aches and pains. So it's a little like going to the dentist or the doctor. We kind of poke and prod, and eventually you go, yeah, that hurts. And then we start focusing on it. And from there, we can build a plan with 2 or 3 top opportunities for us to be able to support and help the elimination of those issues.
It's so incredibly valuable that these are customized to the business. I mean, I think, like you said, they kind of might know that these issues are there, but it always helps to have kind of a third party come in and look at it from the outside, coming in. What are the challenges that you see as the expert, that they might face going forward. And so it's tremendously valuable. And the great thing about these assessments is that we've invested in MMTC to do these on behalf of Michigan businesses. And so it's a tremendous resource. I encourage, all of our manufacturers that are listening today to reach out. We have a landing page where you can fill out information on this, michiganbusiness.org/industry 4.0, I'm sorry. And you can fill out some information, just a quick intake in order to get into our system, and we can route you over to our experts at the center and also Automation Alley. So I guess, a question that I have, as we are rolling out this Industry 4.0 initiative, what would you say is your top piece of advice for a small or medium-sized company that is looking at what they can be doing as it relates to Industry 4.0?
Avoid analysis paralysis. I guess I'm going to say it in kind of 2 parts, because I'm going to say go one way and then I'm going to say kind of go the other. Avoid analysis paralysis. I know a lot of people that spend years and years looking for the perfect solution or looking for that big thing to do. And if you're looking for the perfect, sometimes there's a reason they call it continuous improvement, right? It's small steps, it's incremental steps. So make sure that you're looking to do something, that there's a bias for action in what you're doing, and then make sure that it's tied to your business needs. That's really the biggest thing. Don't do nothing, but don't do something that's not going to drive to your bottom line.
Sounds good. It looks like we have a question from the audience. How do we prepare students to be workforce ready in the Industry 4.0 economy?
I'm gonna go back to STEM. I mean, obviously, it's not an exciting topic sometimes, but really, when we think about the benefit of our businesses, it should be. It should be more exciting. It should be something that we're appreciating. and I know maybe this is going to be a slightly askew answer. We have to get people into STEM. We have to give them the right skill sets, but we have to make them attractive. I'm gonna just real quick kind of go off on a side. I went to my son's high school, and we were actually walking through. And once the principal and we had a conversation, he found out what I did, and he found out what I do with industry. And he took me into this room that had all of the 9 nodes that you see behind me. All of these technologies were represented there. They had the tools. They were working on it. And one of the things that they were doing was they were building this animatronic head for a play that they were going to put on, right? And the cool thing about it was these kids are kind of sitting in here like you expect high school students to sit, until I started asking them questions about this project they were working on, and then very animated, good conversation, talking about it. When I was walking away, the question that I had for the principal was, opening night at the theater, they're going to have this robot. It was for Shrek the Musical is what they were doing. And when it's done, they're going to march all these actors out on the stage, and they're all going to stand there, and they're all going to take their bows. Who's taking a bow for the dragon? Think about the thought process of we will focus on what we give importance to. Mm-hmm. And that's my first answer. If we really want people to be ready for the future, if we really want our students to be ready for the future, we have to understand, right? I follow DMAIC. I'm an old school black belt, right? So define what it is we want and define what it is we need as far as those skill sets. And we have to make those skill sets as important as everything else we have in our schools.
Absolutely. And I know, it also is, part of the manufacturing base and their willingness to take on interns and apprenticeships, to take on some of these students and help them see really, these applications that maybe they wouldn't have known about in the past, and really show them that there are the jobs that are exciting and can, help them be creative and find solutions for problems. I think is really important as well.
It's a great point. I was just at a business yesterday and was talking to the business owner, and he was showing me the microscopic welding and the robotic measurement systems. And these are the things that his newer employees, right, his promising employees, his future employees, these are the things that they like to do because it's the kind of technology they grew up with. And the more we show them that manufacturing isn't what we believe manufacturing used to be, or we think it's dull and it's dirty. If we can get them away from that, we'll start attracting people into manufacturing at a younger age.
Absolutely. So I guess, kind of the last question I'll leave you with from my side, why do you think Michigan in particular is uniquely positioned to be a leader in Industry 4.0?
Well, I'm going to go back to Tom Kelly when you were speaking with him. Mm-hmm. He had pointed out that Michigan as an entity, right? We've been doing manufacturing since anybody's been doing manufacturing, let's be honest. And we kind of rocked the first 3 industrial revolutions. And then he made the question that we kind of need to decide whether we're planning to rock that 4th one, right? If how we're going to enter into it. But the bottom line is we have at all levels of industry and at all levels of businesses, we have people that understand. I always say that manufacturing is not easy, but it's simple. It's making parts to put in a box to sell to a customer. And there is no other state that does that better than Michigan, and that has kind of the same, from a knowledge base of the employees and the experience level. And you look at the personnel, we have what it takes to support the adoption, to support the change, and to support the continuous improvement that some of these technologies provide us. And we just need to go out and adopt it.
Absolutely. We've got the companies, we've got the workforce, and the desire to keep moving forward and keep innovating. We have another question. We spend a lot of time working with manufacturers on their sales efforts and the stories and struggles that we're hearing related to lack of sales and our capable salespeople. What is the center hearing regarding this issue?
So I talk a lot about this. One of the things in sales that, as I'm looking at this, the lack of sales or the capable salespeople, sometimes we have to provide the right direction to our salespeople. And this comes with being in touch with our business, to be perfectly honest. I'll walk into businesses and I hear this story all the time from business owners or business management and upper management, and they're saying, we got to get more sales, we got to get more sales, we got to get more sales. So we'll run out and we'll say, okay, we got to get more sales. But what are we selling? What are we good at? What do we understand about our business, and how do we target the sales into something that we are good at? And then how do we target what's out there in sales so that we can cater or develop our business to be good at the things we need to be good at? But there's a matchup there that sometimes we may not really be spending enough time understanding. It comes back to knowing your business, right?
Absolutely. And that, what makes you unique compared to all the other businesses that do something similar too. So thank you so much, Chuck, for taking the time to chat with me today and for walking us through Industry 4.0 and why it will continue to be so important for Michigan's economy. And thank you to everyone who tuned in today. To learn more about Industry 4.0 and how your business can access these resources and support, not only from MEDC, but from our key industry experts like Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center and Automation Alley, please visit michiganbusiness.org/industry4-0. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.